Zoom. Participants. Oh, Judy's not here.
Well, she's got 3 more minutes.
Yeah, but it said she had joined. I guess maybe she left because she was in the waiting room.
Did we bore her to death?
Paul says he's trying to get in. Oh, there's Judy. Hi, Judy.
Hi, guys.
Can you hear us?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I came in early, Judy, to fix the technology so that the owl would work and the sound would work. So I'm
You're
excited.
awesome.
I'm so excited that it's working.
She has a padded on the head.
Feed it treats.
You're awesome.
It does seem like, though, it sounds like it's coming through my laptop, which we don't want. Let's see. Hi, Haley. Yeah, fine to see.
Okay, so is this Haley?
That's Haley. Yes. Were you not in person at the last meeting?
No.
Oh, okay.
On Zoom.
Select a speaker. Okay. There's Paul. Hi, Paul. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. It wouldn't work on my computer, so I'm gonna just do it off my phone here. I'll leave the video off because it won't, otherwise it'll skip on us.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we can hear you nice and
Okay.
clear. So I'm going to drag this over here. There.
I'm Val, by the way. Hi, Val.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm shirking on my
Looks like Paul has top billing.
VIP.
Yep.
Stars, you know, like in the movies, you know.
Were you guys really excited to get the grand list like I was?
No.
How sad is my life that I'm like, ooh, the grand list. I was excited.
When did that come out?
I think I forwarded it to. I meant to forward it to you guys. Did anybody get my email?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got it.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, good. Yeah. So,
I don't think everybody was as excited as you, Christina.
no,
That's all.
apparently not. Which actually, I'm a little nervous because I don't see. Oh, okay. There we go. There's
Yeah, I
Lynn.
didn't pull it off.
Hi, Tim.
Hello.
We can hear you. And there's Lynn. Hi, Lynn. Lynn, can you unmute and just say hello to make sure your audio's working? You are still muted. It's like watching paint dry. Let's see. Has to unmute. All right, well. Oh, there we can see you now.
I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. I just want to pause because I think that might be Catherine coming down the stairs. Can't sneak up on anybody in this building. Here she is. We heard you coming, Catherine.
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind when you're coming in, especially during this weather, to shut that door that's right here in the hallway.
Oh, I opened it. It was my fault.
No, you were trying to help people, which I appreciate. I'm gonna move this.
No, I left it.
Yeah, this is keeping cold air around. We do it during the day too.
Okay, well, it is 7:02 and I will call the meeting to order. And let me just look at my agenda. Okay, so roll call. We'll start with me, Christina Davis, I'm present. Pam Summers.
Here.
Keith Lipker.
Here.
Paul Varga.
Here.
Tim Rhodes.
Here.
Judy Austin.
Here.
Another 6 of 6. Fantastic, guys. Thank you. And then for alternates, we have Kayla Plagge. I'm never sure about how to say it. But you're here. And Val Pepin here. And then Rob Chernock, our third alternate, is not present. Okay. All right. Communications. A lot of this stuff will be related to things on the agenda. So we got an email today from the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities with the new revisions to the state budget that are being proposed. I can share those really quick. Let me put this up here, and I'm going to share my, let's see, I got to share my screen. I think I want to share this one. Let's see. Can people on Zoom see this spreadsheet?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Spreadsheet from the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities showing what the new governor proposed state budget funding would be for the coming fiscal year. So starting July 1 through June 30th of 2027. So you can see this column here shows what was originally in the budget, which was passed last year. And then now it looks like things are being overall revised up slightly. So the most significant increase is to the pilot funding by 5%, and then the motor vehicle reimbursement, a pretty significant jump from 91,000 to 178,000.
Wow.
So overall, that's a 2% increase. So it's not going to fix any problems, but it's good news. It's not going to hurt us. So now this is not final. It's just proposed, so we don't know. You know, it'll go through the state budget process, but that's what we have at the moment. I got some updates from Lynn, which she's going to share during our call today. And also, I think some correspondence from our first select woman regarding some road repair or bridge repair, which she's going to touch upon briefly in her update. So that's it for communications. Next up on the agenda is approval of minutes. So we have the minutes from the January 22nd meeting, which were completed by our new recording secretary, Haley. So thank you, Haley. So I just scroll through this really quick. Oh, this is longer than I thought. So anyone willing to make a motion to approve the January 22nd meeting minutes?
I'll move.
Okay, Pam made the motion.
I'll second. Paul.
And Paul, sorry, I'm going to slow down because I know Haley has to get all the names. So Pam Summers made the motion, and Paul Varga seconded the motion. Okay. Any edits to the minutes?
Christine, it doesn't look like I'm on there. I thought that I was on the meeting.
Yes, I think you were as well. Let's see.
Let me see if I have notes.
No, you definitely were. I remember.
Yep, I
Yeah,
was.
I think you just got left off by accident, so we will make a note. That could be an edit. So Haley, when we do the minutes, if we have to have an edit in the minutes, which is quite often, it's nothing, no issue, just put, you know, minutes were approved with the following edit, and that just say add Judy Austin to the list of members present. Does that make sense? Okay, any other edits? Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes as edited? Aye.
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 All right, next up we have public comment. Would anybody like to make a public comment?
Just my comment on your grace with my first minutes.
Oh! Well, that's a nice comment, thank you. I just want to make sure that there's nobody, let me stop the share for a second. I just want to make sure that there's nobody, okay, yeah, there's nobody in the waiting room. All right,
I
so,
just have a quick question.
Yep.
Should we still, or should I still be listed as a member, even though
were you not?
Yeah, because I don't know if Elle was either. Were you the last meeting?
Alternates available?
Oh, here's the last minutes.
Alternates.
Oh, I see it at the bottom. Okay, I was just curious.
Okay, yeah, so you're listed there. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, but good for you to ask. Because yeah, you should always, if you're present, then you should be listed as being present. Okay. So first up is Select Women's Update. Catherine?
Hi. Okay, we have some unplanned expense in our current year budget, which is 2025-2026. And the first one is the Train Tracer Symphony upgrade. The Train Tracer Symphony software that controls the town office building's HVAC, I'm going to be giving this to you, okay? At least this. HVAC and lower parking lot lighting is not working properly. It hasn't been for a while. The lower parking lot, we put in new lights. They were finally installed November 3rd, the day before the municipal election. And that was after a long period of trying to get them in. They're way too bright. You may love them as you're going to your cars. However, the people who live right over here, behind the town office building, are horrified. I've driven up and down Route 89. By the way, I heard from them the morning of November 4th. They were very nice. They're very nice. They're just horrified. And I could see it myself. I drove up and down Route 89, and it looks like a lit football field there. If there's no foliage that's blocking them, it's really unfortunate. They do meet standards for municipal buildings. However, they're just way too bright. So the original installer got that person out, had them go to the lower setting, which requires bringing in the lift and everything to even get up to them. They're also taller than I think any of the former board of selectmen thought it would be. And turning them down didn't help at all. So we have another company that's looking at our front parking lot, our front lights along the walk out front of the building. And you'll see that when you look out in the parking lot, there is one light that's brighter than any of the others. That's where that company has been experimenting with what lighting could be out there, because right now the lighting out front is too dim. I mentioned that company because I've enlisted that company to take a look at the other lights. And Casey, our Public Works Director, has been working with them. He's working with me. He's thinking maybe that this other company is much more ingenious about how they're going about things. So, once we have the software, I will be able to, it's on my machine. And Casey has access to it, and another person has access to it. So once we have that software upgrade, we'll be able to control when those lights are on and when they're not. And so when I talked to the people who live behind here, what I offered, and again, that morning, actually later on the week, after trying a number of things and even pulling down a manual and looking at the programmer stuff and everything, what I told them is we could maybe make a compromise. They wanted them off, all night long. And because they shine right into the windows. But our conversation was that I would shut them off at 9:30 at night, which is when most of our meetings stop. Now, I want to move to the front lights and give you an update on that. Tonight, just before this meeting, Casey, that other company has done this is the third experiment they've done on that single light that's out there that's brighter than all the others. The first two experiments were also too bright. When you envision having all the lights on out there at that level, it's way too bright. So the light emission that you see tonight is the one that is acceptable. So we're getting an estimate on what it's going to cost to do the lights out front, because they are truly, like it was in the other parking lot, a safety issue. So that's more than what I have for you, but just to let you know, that's what we're doing with that. There'll be an estimate for that, and I'm looking to do that this year as well, during this fiscal year. So we are watching the budget, but I'm letting you know that there's some unplanned costs. Another one is more expensive, at least I believe it is. That is our 2008 International Workstar truck. Broke down just before the last snowstorm, so it wasn't available for our guys to work with. The repair estimate is $22,622. That's an unplanned expense. So we're proceeding with that because we have no choice. I'm just letting you know that our highway budget will probably run over. We'll see how everything levels out in the end, but I do want to make you aware. Another thing is that we were approached by the state and a company hired by the state to replace two of the bridges in our town. They are the Axe Factory Road number 2 over Bigelow Brook Bridge, and the Boston Hollow Road number 2 over Bigelow Brook Bridge is the other bridge. So the way this program works is the feds pay 80% and the state pays 20%. We don't pay, well, the only thing we would pay is during construction costs, we would pay to do the advertising of this is what's going on with the bridge, communicating with the public, anything like that, any legal work that needs to be done, so the town would have to take on that cost. I'm not thinking that's going to be a major cost, but what is concerning is that the way the program works is all of the design work is done by this company that the state hired. They manage all of it. They keep us informed. Once they come up with options, they present them to us, at least to the selectmen, and they we decide what it's going to be, and they should be able to give better costs, generally better costs than that. And we don't pay for any of that. What we do get involved with is on the construction side. The construction side, they expect the town to front the monthly costs as they come in from construction. So imagine the materials, imagine the labor. So the estimate for construction for the first bridge I mentioned is $4 million. The estimate for the second bridge is $3 million. That's just for construction. So again, we're supposed to get, what they want us to do is pay the monthly bills and then submit them to the state. And I was assured, although I'm never comfortable with this, that we would get reimbursement on those monthly basis within 60 days of when we submitted. So it's really kind of like staying ahead of it and parsing it out as you go along. So, our finance department and I are meeting with, bond counsel to talk about, how would we handle this? We're looking for options. The other thing is that we're also reaching out to other towns that have used this program, which has been pretty successful. Now, if you can imagine us trying to pay for a bridge to be replaced, and by the way, neither of these bridges are expected to pass inspection. They are inspected every 2 years. One is going to be inspected in October of this year, and the other one, I believe, is going to be inspected next year. So I know that we'll need some additional monies to make sure that we get them to the state of at least people can, they're roadworthy enough to travel over until they are replaced. So the design process takes 2 years per bridge, and then the construction process is 8 months. That's roughly estimated. We don't have to do both bridges at the same time. In fact, that's not necessarily recommended. So you can imagine this process is going to go out a ways. Design wouldn't start until at least 2027. So it would be a long set of projects. There are also permit fees and whatever, which I would expect the town would waive, which is what we do for even the school roof.
So have you found other towns that have participated in the
We
program?
have a number of towns that have, and also these bridges are in some ways shared between Ashford and Eastford.
Yeah.
So we're working, when we met with the company, we didn't have the Eastford First Select Woman there, but we did have their Public Works Director. And he's familiar with this program as well, and we had Casey there. So we're working through the details with them, but what will have to happen is we'll have to have a town meeting to approve doing this. And they are looking for an answer pretty soon. They wanted one in February. I'm thinking we need to be able to put this up there for March and get that out to the town.
And are these both?
What it is basically it's an initial commitment, and once they do the design, they're going to revisit what the cost would be. So we're also looking at what would be the appropriate thing to put on the notice for the town meeting in terms of how to word what we're going to be presenting. I can tell you, it's a good deal. It's a matter of how do we manage this. Also, they would expect that we're taking in the bills. That's probably intuitively obvious. We're taking in the bills, so our finance department would be doing that. What has been recommended so far, because our finance director did talk with the auditor, would be to set up funds, separate funds. You know how you see the funds in the audit? You'll see a page of the different funds. Is to set up a fund for each bridge and do it that way. I believe that would keep it off the capital projects budget, if you will, that could be done in a way that it keeps it out of there. Putting those in there, I mentioned in passing to Christina, when we put the school roof in the capital improvement budget, it created a situation, a black and white situation on paper, that we were overextended because we put 1 million one year and 4 million commitment the next year, which we didn't have. But the way that everything worked out, it was kind of like crossing an international date line. The money flow worked fine. It's cleaner to do it with a fund. Then you're working against that, and you're not taking it through another path. So that's just in plain speak.
Are both those bridges dirt roads?
I don't know. I don't
know
know that
that-
I've gone over those bridges.
I know Boston. I'm pretty sure all of Boston Hollow is dirt.
Yeah,
right?
I would think so. Also, there was one of them that has a special character to it. I can just tell you in passing. There's something about that one, and we talked to them about not doing something that really takes away from the general character of where it is and what it looks like. we'll see what they come back with. Also, there's, what is it, not right away, eminent domain that could have been a factor if it was, if they were on properties that were, I'm gonna say, owned by, you know, one of you, and your house is there or whatever, but they're not. They are part of the Yale Forest, so they're not, and so we're talking about working with, what is it, Yukon has the Yale Forest, right?
No, Yale.
Yale
has the
I
Yale
know, I
Forest.
wasn't sure if they switched it over.
No.
Okay, so, that's
But it
working
would be
with the
nice
Yale.
if Yale would
I
pay
don't
for the
anticipate-
bridges.
Yeah.
I don't anticipate, that it's going to be a problem at all. It shouldn't be. It's actually to their benefit. I also, you know, I expect that the bridge that's currently there will remain there while they're doing the other bridge, so they don't, you know, lock anybody in, so to speak. So that's that project. More to come about that. I just wanted to let you know that it is going on, and there were, I'm kind of embroiled in all kinds of meetings with all kinds of detailed paperwork and forms and agreements that they want signed. And I'm loath to sign them until we have conversations with the other people and we have our town meeting.
So Catherine,
Yeah.
even though that the bridge, well, you say it's part of the Yale Forest, but it's a town maintained road.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can't pass it off to Yale.
No. Nice try, Keith. Maybe you should be on the board of selectmen. Make that one fly.
All right.
Okay, and that's all I have.
Okay, great. We will move on. The next item on the agenda is a review of grand list with Town Assessor Lynn Jones. So, Lynn, if you want to say hello.
Good evening.
Do you want me to put anything on the screen yet, or you just want to talk? Or
Yeah, do you want to basically the comparison of last year to this year?
sure. Yeah, I can call that one up. Give me 1 second. Sorry, give me a second. I'm gonna zoom in a bit. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, can you guys see this spreadsheet with some numbers? Yes, can you guys see it?
So, yes.
Okay.
So it was a revaluation year, as we know. The overall grand list, the net grand list went up 35.43%. And the breakdown is the real estate went up 40.7%. Personal property went up 22.52%, and motor vehicle went up 1.13%. If I break that down a little bit further, when it comes to the real estate, I didn't do every single category, but the residential properties went up 44%. The commercial went up 16%. And the apartments, which are separated out from the commercial, they went up 30%. So the biggest increase of all the real estate was the residential. And I just want to point out for personal property, it's a pretty good size increase. But the reason for that this year is there's a huge penalty for a late filing. And 2.6 million is the penalty, which accounts for the large increase in the personal property.
So when you say a late filing, Lynn, what is that? So is that a business? They're supposed
So
to
if a
submit their
company,
paperwork?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the end of your question.
Just that a business should have submitted their.
Yes, for personal property, if you file late or you don't file, there's a 25% assessment penalty. And Eversource filed late, so they have a huge penalty.
Did they file late for all towns or just us?
67,
67 towns?
yes.
And they're going to pay a penalty? Wow.
By law, I have to assess the penalty.
Wow. And then we're all going to get charged higher rates.
I
Is there a
think
delivery fee?
I think with, if I could say something, is, they will probably protest that in some way. Is that correct? But we know
Correct.
that by state law, you are charged if you don't, file in time, and they did not file in time. There are some towns, if I understand correctly, that are not planning not to charge them for the penalty.
I don't,
Against-
and I'm sorry, I can't hear, I haven't been able to hear anybody loudly except for Christina's. I can hear clearly, but everybody else, it's really soft, so I can't hear what Catherine is saying.
Here, wait.
I'm just gonna come over here, if that's okay.
Yeah, if you talk into that thing.
The owl is on.
Yeah.
Hi. I anticipate, can we anticipate that the Eversource is going to protest that penalty because it's so expensive for them, even though they violated state law?
Yes, I think you're asking me if they will. I expect that they will. I don't know. Appeal deadline is February 20th.
Good to know, thank you.
Okay. What else is there to know?
That's the summary. Oh, the other thing I want to mention is I had sent you this also, Christina, the median assessment for the residential is 240,590. I didn't write what it was before. I think it was 167. Sorry, I didn't have that in front of me.
Yeah, I have that actually. Last year it was the median assessed value was 167,440, and so it's gone up to 240,590. So that's a very, I mean, whatever, it's 40-something%, right?
Yes. Yeah, for residential, it's 44% is the average.
Mhm.
And I will give an update to the Board of Finance after the BAA hearings, which are in March. So the appeal deadline is February 20th, and the Board of Assessment Appeals is scheduled to meet to hear appellants on March 10th and March 17th. So after I get the results of that and update any changes, I will give the Board of Finance an update on the grand list numbers.
Okay, yeah, and I think I just want to explain to the group. So we have a number right now for the grand list, which is 499 million, roughly, total. But after appeals, that typically comes down a little bit. Maybe it'll come down a little bit more depending on what happens with Eversource. But that number then impacts the mill rate. So that's why we need that. We need to kind of keep in mind that this is a placeholder number, and it will be refined in mid to late March, right?
Yes, and so the last, we planned for 2 dates for the hearings. And again, I don't know what the total number of appeals is at this point. If we have to add more, we will. But if it only goes to the 17th, I hope my plan would be shortly after that, Christina, to send you the updates.
Okay.
Are there any questions at this point?
Yeah, I would just open it up to the board members. Does anybody have any questions for Lynn? No? Okay. Well, I'll take that as a sign. We've done a lot of talking about this, so there's no surprise. No, and we knew that it was going to be big numbers, and this is consistent with other towns. So I think.
And I haven't received, we usually, all the towns locally in Wyndham area, we get the changes. So I haven't received the information on the other towns that did revaluation this year. So I will forward that to you, Christina, once I have that information.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. That's always helpful to know. Okay, any last questions for Lynn before we let her go?
Thank you, Lynn.
Yes.
I know you worked really hard on this. I know you put in a lot of extra hours. So it's really appreciated.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Okay, thanks, Lynn.
Night.
Okay, so let's see what's next. Okay, review mill rate calculation spreadsheet with what we know so far. This is the exciting part, guys. This is the part that I'm excited about because we finally have some numbers. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm looking for the share button. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay, so this spreadsheet shows the budgets and grand list over time, starting back with fiscal year 22, moving up through the current fiscal year, which is 25-26, and then we're in the yellowish column for 26-27, where we're going to start filling in this information. So some of this I put in just as placeholders. I put in, we don't have a general government budget yet. So I put in, just pretended like it was flat, just for the conversation this evening.
I promise it won't be flat.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it won't. Ashford School, we do know what their Board of Ed has approved, and we'll look at that number, but again, just for this first go through, we're gonna pretend that it's flat, and then same thing for Region 19, which is the regional high school E.O. Smith. Total grants and fees and other income that at about 4.1 million. This is where that state funding piece comes in. So we know that state funding is potentially going to be up by 2%. And then there are other revenue streams that are a little bit smaller from the town, permits, fees, etc. So this number will likely, let's hope, is going to be a little bit higher than what it was last year, because that's helpful. The fire department abatements, so by state law, anybody who volunteers to be a firefighter in Connecticut is eligible to receive a $1,000 credit towards their assessment. And right now, actually, I can revise this. It's actually, well, I'm gonna leave it as at 9, but it's actually gonna be 8 this year. But again, just for this argument's sake. And then here's our new grand list number. So you can see 499 some odd million, up from 368 million. That's a 35% increase. And that, in terms of dollars, is 130 million. I'm gonna move this so hopefully we can get everything on one screen.
Did you send us this spreadsheet?
I haven't sent this one, no.
Okay, good.
Is this complicated? I don't necessarily want to share it, because if you start monkeying with the formulas, you can get a bad result and then cause a panic, and we don't want that.
Yeah. Don't want anyone to see it yet.
But,
Well, no,
but at least like a PDF of the page.
Yes, a PDF I will share for sure. I don't mind people seeing it at all. I just don't, I would hate for someone to start playing with it, mess with the formula, and then they get a mill rate calculation that's totally crazy and they cause a panic. We don't want that. So then this line underneath this grand list is, we, for our calculation purposes, typically always say, well, we're not going to collect 100% on the property, we're going to collect on 98%, just because there are some people who aren't going to pay their taxes. Generally, our track record, the tax collector's track record, has been to come in above that 98%, which is helpful. So hopefully that continues. Now, in the last couple of years, we had to break out the personal property and the motor vehicles because the state caps the mill rate on motor vehicles at 32.46. So if your real estate, if your tax burden gets too high, you have to end up getting two different mill rates, and it makes it more complicated. But because we're having the reval and this grand list shot up so substantially, now our mill rate is going to come in underneath that cap. So we're going to have one mill rate for property and the same mill rate for motor vehicles. So makes the math easier. So you can see here, if everything stayed flat from last year to this year, and the only thing that changed was our grant list, we would end up with a mill rate of 26.541, which is about 10 mills less than last year, which is on par with our most significant decrease that we've seen. If you look historically, we've had a 9 mill increase in the past. Now, we can also plug in, and this is not the correct number, let me get the right one. We can plug in what that tax bill would be for the median assessed 240,590. 240,590. So the tax bill on that median house with this mill rate would be about $6,300. And this number here for the previous year is based on the previous median at 167. Because that's what we're all going to have to do, is look at, okay, what was my house assessed at last year? And what is it assessed at this year? And do the two separate calculations and compare the numbers to get the real change in taxes. So again, all things being equal, based totally on the median, we're already looking at a 5% increase. That's without spending more money based on this for the median home. Now, people who are above the median in terms of that increase are going to see they're going to take a bigger hit. People who are below the median might actually see their taxes go down. So during a reval year, you have a variety of impacts where some people see their taxes go down, some people see them go up. So that's where we're at. And I do just want to share what we know so far. Sorry, my mouse is being weird. We do know so far the Board of Ed approved a $9.1 million budget, which is a 3% increase, or about $300,000. And we do know that the fire department abatements is going to be $8,000 because I guess there's technically 9 volunteers, but one of them doesn't own property, so that person doesn't get a credit. So we'll have these additional pieces of the budget in the coming weeks, general government, and then Region 19. And then we can take those numbers, see what that mill rate looks like. We can do different scenarios of what the tax impact is on different houses, and then start to make some decisions from there. I will say the one other piece that I have from Lynn is I got a report from her of every single property in the town with their 2024 assessment and their 2025 assessment. So the old versus the new. And I can calculate what that percentage change is and start to figure out what is the variability in terms of taxes once we kind of get a better sense of what the mill rate is going to be. So I'll be able to say, last time when we had a reval, I was able to say 1 out of 4 homeowners is going to see their taxes go down. 3 out of 4 are going to see them go up, and the median increase is going to be X. So there'll be just a lot of variability. So, any questions? No? No questions? No? Okay. I won't make you have questions.
Well, it means it was a good presentation.
I guess. Let me just think if there's anything else to think about. Oh, yeah, I just want to look at, do I have this on the agenda? Look at what the budget calendar is. We talked about the grant list, we talked about the state funding, we talked about Board of Ed. Yeah, let me just call up the budget calendar so we can look at when these elements are going to come in to the budget. 26. No, I'm not sharing anymore. Share my screen again. So this is our calendar. So we will be seeing what that Region 19 budget is on February 13th, which is, just gonna see what day, I guess it does say what the day is. So it's a Friday. So that's next Friday. So as soon as I get that number from Region 19, they usually distribute actual physical books. I try to remind them to please just send me an email because their budget book is like this big. It's so huge. But as soon as I get that number, I will email it to everybody so everybody knows, and then we'll be able to plug it into the spreadsheet. Again, very exciting. And then we'll officially get the budget from the Board of Ed, which that number that I shared, that's what they've approved, but they could change it tomorrow. It's all in, they could change their mind. Something could come in. You never know. So I don't want anybody to be like, well, but the Board of Ed said 3%. It could change. We don't know. And then the general government budget will come in early March. So basically, once we get to early March, we should have a good sense of all the different elements, and we'll be able to get a sense of the tax impacts, and then we'll have to have some conversations about what's realistic and what's not. So any questions about the schedule and how the timing of everything?
When does the state funding, you said, gets approved? When is it usually?
Yeah, it usually happens after we approve the budget. Yeah, so like last year we had a number, and then and we used that number, and then I think it was even after the referendum, very shortly after the referendum, the actual budget was finalized, and it was a little bit more money. So had we known that, well, but it's kind of annoying because you end up overtaxing essentially.
Yeah.
You didn't have to tax for that extra, whatever it was. It wasn't a huge amount, but let's say it was $100,000. But so so we watch, and everybody should watch what the news is about the state budget, and the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities keeps us informed. So if it looks like something is, something crazy could happen. COVID could happen, right? COVID happened in 2020, and the state had to claw back a bunch of stuff. So you never know. So we just have to watch the news and the reports from the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities to gauge what that number is going to be. But it's never final until the governor signs it, and he typically signs it after the town referendums, which I think is kind of by design. They kind of want towns to pass their budgets, and then I don't know. I think it's on purpose. Okay. Any other questions about the calendar? Okay. Let's see. You good on Zoom there, guys? Everybody's okay?
We're good.
We're
Okay.
here.
We're good.
Gonna look again at the agenda. Okay, so agenda items for the next meeting. So let me just look at our calendar. Oop. Oh, sorry. This two screens thing is tricking me up here. Ah, okay. All right, so our next meeting is February 12th. And do we have any presentations on the 12th? No. I suspect that we will probably cancel the February 12th meeting because we have a budget presentation on the 19th. We put a lot of dates in the calendar to save space, but unless there's some critical business that comes up, I don't see the need for our next meeting. So I would hazard a guess that I'll cancel that one, but plan on definitely being here for the February 19th meeting because that'll be an important one. All right. And remarks for the good of the board. I think that's it. I don't have much to say other than bring your questions to the Board of Ed budget presentation. And if you look over any of the grand list stuff or have any questions, between now and then, feel free to reach out via email. It's probably the easiest way. But otherwise, thank you, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
So Pam Summers made the motion to adjourn, and Keith Lipker seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
That's roughly. What is your